And you gotta love that intro to warm us up into the next series of JDG taking on FPX. Of course, we are live in Beijing, where JDG hold themselves strong with their growing fandom. Last year was amazing for JDG. Some say they should have been the third or second representative at Worlds, but it was not the case. It was EDG who took their miniature throne and went instead. For JDG, this year has been about the revival. It has been about cleaning up. And with their new players, maybe they can do it. Welcome back to the LPL. My name is Asterix. I'm joined by Clement Chu, who's hopefully got another answer as to whether JDG look better or look worse, Clement.
Oh, that's a tough one. I actually feel like they look a little bit worse.
Okay.
To be honest.
That's all right, you're not positive.
Yeah, I know, but we have to tell the truth. That's the analyst's job anyway. They did lose a game versus Rogue Warriors in the first series, which really kind of brought out some of the worst sides of them, which was the macro side, giving up the Barons. But they still have their same core of their front line in Zoom, Yagao, and Lumao, and they've also added in new players like Levi and Imp, who are big blockbuster trades that hopefully can fill the shoes of Klid, who went to SKT, and Loken, who went to TOP.
Now, both of those players went to amazing teams, but we're still here. We're still looking at now FPX, who are opposing them today. And FPX, they have just taken a step up as well, Clement. Like, every team in the LPL is somewhat getting better.
Talking about blockbuster trades, Doinby was definitely one of them. The heart and soul of Rogue Warriors going over to FPX, and we finally see the lane-dominant FPX finally show up. This team has always been known for great players, but not necessarily been a contender. This time around, they're taking their early game advantages all the way to the bank. Look at their top lane. It's winning out even alone. Their mid lane and their bot lane, especially, ranked number 2 in the LPL for gold difference at 15 minutes, close to 1,000, even actually over 1,000, I believe, in terms of the bot side with LWX and Crisp.
And what a refresher for you as well. If you watch FPX last year, who were playoff contenders, but nothing more than that, LWX and Crisp got their name out there. Of course, Crisp and LWX, no names in the LPL by now too. But for LWX, there's a bit of rivalry here, and I'm excited to see him go up against Imp.
Yeah, these are the two best short-range AD carries that you have in the LPL so far. LWX, known for going in, great on the Kai'Sa, and Imp, you have to remember, he made his name as a Vayne, and it's so nice to see him finally playing up to his potential. Didn't have a great 2018 on WE, but finding his footing in JD Gaming and showing that he still has the mechanics that made him king.
And look, JDG have played one series, granted it was 3 games. That's why Imp only has 3 kills and an 11 KDA. There was a difference here as for Rogue Warriors, they pushed them to the limit, but Imp has just shown fancy footwork, even dodging out on a virus ult earlier in this play.
And he's back on form, there's no question about it. Going in on the Lucian, he can play the early game, play the hyper late game as well, cleaning up the team in this play. Just wait for a second, You're gonna get the Imp shot right here, going in on the carries. I'm still waiting, but that's the type of thing that Imp can do for your team.
That's Imp. That is the successful AD carry who wants to remake his legacy a little bit. It's like JDG. They want to move up and they think they deserve that top 3 position, which is very much right. But you're going up against LWX.
The shotgun.
And LWX is absolutely insane at the moment. Now, he has played more games than him, and his stats are still darn good.
And I think both of these guys are going to be going hard for the Kai'Sa pick because their playstyles are very, very similar. They're in-your-face AD carries and marksmen. They like to fly into the back line. They're not afraid of putting themselves in danger and cleaning up the entire fight as well.
It was LWX who set new expectations against Snake, who actually looked pretty good in that game one, but FPX came out massively.
Just Wolt goes in, no trouble right there, half health, not a problem, cleans up the entire fight, triple kill. That's the LWX that we were talking about. I feel like in a lot of senses, LWX is chasing off the heightened play of Imp. That was his legacy, that was the bar set up, and these two players are actually very, very similar in terms of their play styles. It's going to be a great showdown.
We've got a really hype matchup in that AD carry position. We've got two LPL superstars. Well, Imp is now an LPL superstar, right?
Yes,
he just gets that because of his past experience. For Imp, there were a lot of people that wanted to tune in, especially I know from Korea, especially with Levi at the same time. We just had this mixed audience that were kind of rooting for JDG. For the side of FPX, I know the Chinese audience will be behind someone like Doinby, who we just can't stop talking about.
Yeah, Doinby is, every team he goes on, he does reshape the team around himself. What we've been seeing from the draft so far is that he typically always gets the last pick, and he has a very unique champion to boot. The Aatrox, the Kled, basically only plays AD carry bruisers and always wins out on his lane.
You got to remember, for FPX's mid lane, they are just going to play around Doinby and that bottom side of the map. For FPX, they are the chaos-infused team. They love these chaotic team fights. And for JDG, it's the Dumpling Brothers. We haven't even talked about the top side of the map, Clement.
Zoom and Yagao showing it up for JD Gaming. Zoom, of course, was our first team top laner, even over the Shy last time around. Has a lot of great solo plays. When we talk about it, Grasp of the Undying, Swain is the one that we think about. And for Yagao, he was our mid laner of the Rift in week 1, getting 37% of the damage for his team on that Zoe.
Let's etch this into your minds. You need to remember this team. It's Zoom in the top side of the map, still one of the best top laners in the league. Flawless in the jungle, over from Rogue Warriors. In the mid lane, Yagao, and you know what that bottom lane's about. Don't even worry about it. Move over to FPX. Kimgoon, Tian, Doinby, LWX, and Crisp. Now, if you missed out on Imp and Lumal, then don't worry anymore, because this bottom lane is about to pop off like that candy that does not stop crackling in your mouth.
Both of these bot lanes are really hyper-aggressive into the laning phase. Crisp and LWX have been known for a lane-killing type of 2v2. They ran the Tristana and Alistar, ran the Kai'Sa and Leona before. And for Imp, even though he hasn't had such a great laning phase, so far we have been seeing him very willing to go into the Lucian matchup, taking it up on anyone, basically. So I think there's going to be a lot of high-priority picks happening in the bot lane. Lucian, Ezreal, Sivir, I think all three of these have a very high potential for being selected.
I want to say as well that with Vayne popping back into the meta and Draven, that there is a chance that these AD carries take the matchup. So I don't want to overhype it. I don't want to disappoint. Kai'Sa's definitely going to be a high priority pick. We've seen how the mid lane's going to affect it, and if Kled is the pickup, then there's always Yagao to counteract that. So much.
And you have to talk about Yagao and Doinby as well, because Yagao took Doinby's position on JD Gaming. JD Gaming before Yagao, even though they had the MVP and Doinby, they were not a playoff team. There was a sub 40% win rate team, but once Yagao joined in, it actually made the team better. So every time we see Doinby go up against Yagao, he has that chip on his shoulder. He has that legacy that he's trying to fight for and prove to himself. So this is going to be a very, very hyped up grudge match coming in from him.
And FPX and JDG, they feel higher in the standings. Maybe JDG in a similar position as last time. Remember, it is only week 2. We've got a lot of play to go through. So many games in the LPL regular season, but this for FPX is their window into the top 6. More like their window into the top 3 if they play their cards right. Now, I'm very hyped up after what I've seen of FPX so far, but you have every right to be. This roster is continuing to skyrocket to the top, and now JDG are the only team that stand in their way.
We talked about them as one of the flawless teams in the LPL, and actually, JD Gaming haven't lost a match either, even though they're only up on 1 match currently so far. So there's also a bit of pride on the line for these two. Who's going to keep their flawless record, if I might say?
Yeah, no, you said it before broadcast.
I'm sorry. Flawless is playing today
walks in and goes, man, I forgot, JDG are flawless as well. I'm like, you trying to crack a wise one with me? Like, what's going on? And for Clement as well, something that kind of surprised me or for both of us rather, is the fact that for JDG, they have been pushed in previous splits, and with these new teams, even at the thought of getting pushed, I don't feel like JDG sit lower than an 8th or 6th place team, considering how this new roster is adapting and moving into the meta.
Yeah, I only feel like there's 2 open slots in the playoff bracket, which is 8 teams so far. If you go from the top, IG, RNG, Suning, TOP, and then we feel like it goes EDG and JD Gaming for 5th and 6th, and only 2 open spots left.
Even
That's
EDG after
good.
the loss to Sino Dragon, you go, maybe not.
I still think EDG claw their way back into the playoffs. They always do.
Yeah.
So we're looking at 7th and 8th place as the real crunch spots in the LPL so far. And I feel like the teams that are fighting super hard for it are going to be V5 and FPX. And I feel like OMG as well. Those 3 teams, I have a red circle around them. Those 3 teams I feel like are going to be the big ones vying for those last 2 positions.
My 4th circle is around Vici Gaming, just a fun fact as well. That's a very different story, one we'll talk about a little bit later. But we're going into what is going to be a very important series now. This is not our match of the week, but what this is a series that dictates to me who sits in the top 6 and who might be sitting just outside it. JDG and FPX, we start.
And right there we see Coach Home, legendary coach coming in from WE side, coming in on JD Gaming. He has never missed the playoffs when he was healthy. And on the other hand, speaking about health, a little bit of accident happening for Warhorse. Did injure his neck in a car accident, I believe. And we'll have to ban pick with a bracelet so far.
I mean, we saw it last time, Club, but he's alright. That's the main thing. He's okay. But for FPX, their draft seems to be the same. And of course, you're talking about the bans here as well with Camille, Cassiopeia. They are a must at the moment, considering what we saw last time with Camille. And considering that it's Flawless you're going up against, if you let that through, that flex is just too dangerous to deal with.
Definitely one of his best champions. I feel like FPX needs to consider about how they deal with Zoe. I feel like that's one of the biggest champion matchup problems that they have between the mid laners. Zoe, one of Yagao's best champions. On the other hand, Joinby does not play the champion. So a bit of a mismatch in styles right there. And we've also seen the Ezreal plus the Zoe composition be very, very successful in the meta so far.
I see Galio as a bigger issue to Yagao, which we all know, but Aatrox's first pick only with this team. Will you still see the Aatrox first pick? FPX just toggling around. Of course, with Aatrox locked down, you know that the availability of Urgot is just too much.
And Urgot has been a massive pick for Gimgoon as well, because FPX, they do like to play toward the bottom side of the map. They want something that is very safe when being left alone on the top side. We typically do see the Urgot just go to Gimgoon, but I also need to mention that this is considered a flex pick for Doinby as well.
Doinby has actually played a couple of Urgot games in the past series, so that's not off the cards. With Kai'Sa locked in, the priority this time goes to LWX, and that's what JDG have to deal with on the blue side. They saw the priority in banning out Tahm Kench rather than one of the 80 carry picks. They saw the priority in getting rid of the Akali, but have left LWX with some firm grasp over that bottom lane. But to see what it's getting paired with will be the next question as Gragas slams down.
Gragas is an interesting one from Flawless, a champion that he started to pick off later into 2018, but I would suspect that one of the stronger support picks come out in this position. Alistar and Rakan are still here.
Remember that Gragas can also flex towards the support. Lumao, known for Tahm Kench, known for more of the supportive style, but that doesn't matter in this series. Everything's out the window. What is the priority for JDG? Sivir in the first rotation. Why not?
And this is one of those champions that Imp has always held on to through the years. Even if he was off meta, he did like to play the champion. It's a champion that's doing very well when left alone in that sense. So Imp had played a lot of it when he was dueling with PYL.
Yep.
And he's going to continue to go with that matchup, a good pushing matchup into them. But Crisp is going to get his hands on Rakan, and Rakan so far has been the go-to support champion, highest win rate champion of the LPL, and also something that Lumao himself does very, very well on. So it's a bit of an interesting setup right here. We're seeing FPX go for a kill lane onto the bot side, where JD Gaming are going to try to play the push and the tower chipping game for them.
JDG almost feeling like they're somewhat trying to make things stable towards the mid to late, somewhat trying to stop the chaotic team fight of FPX. And with that Sivir pickup, you're now going, okay, what has been sacrificed for JDG's mid lane? Zoe off the board for Yagao.
That's definitely one of the big ones. I would not let Zoe up for JD Gaming. I feel like it's too much of a risk in terms of playstyle. FPX want to go in all the time. Well, if you let JD Gaming to poke you from afar, it becomes a lot of issues down the line in terms of composition matchups. I like that ban from them. And FPX actually hinting a Jace ban away at JD Gaming, which is interesting. They really already showcased that.
I don't want to see Jace. I'm just going to put that out there in this series, Clement. Jace at the moment has got some pretty unexpected burst. Actually, no, that's always Jace.
I really like what Warhorse did. This is one of his tricks where he showcases champions that are considered counter picks. So Jace is a big counter to the Aatrox, either in the top lane or the mid lane. And what Warhorse did there was he flashed the Jace earlier on in the bans, even though they haven't picked it yet, and just said, hey, remember this guy?
I do, yeah. Could have been played for Yagao as well, but Rye's also taken off the board, so flexing away from those mid lane top laners. Sejuani the final ban, but one Ice Queen that didn't lose her momentum in this pick and ban was Lissandra.
And Lissandra, we actually have seen her being placed in the top side as well, so FPX still going with the flex, the potential flex. They already have a very good engage core, and I just assume that they will follow that up with another engage option coming out from the jungle.
Yep.
For JD Gaming, the Syndra is, you win lane with this pick, but a lot of the times it loses the usefulness later on. It's a very easy champion to pick off. So I really read this as Yagao being more defensive in the matchup and saying that I need something that can give me an early game edge.
Especially before Lissandra has her ultimate. If you can win out that lane, trade off early, it's going to be some troubles. Final pick was the Alistar, and now for FPX. Halo Blade Xin has been insane. We'll have to see if that rune is picked up this time, because there has been flexibility between that and Phase Rush.
To get a Xin Zhao in this phase of the draft is just, it's pretty amazing. Highest win rate jungler as well.
Yeah, that is true.
And does have a pretty decent matchup against the Gragas. If you find the Gragas earlier on, it's up to the Gragas to really start running away.
All right, Clement. That Gragas isn't going anywhere. He's got some weight in him. It takes some time to move. But Imp is saying, let's fight. Let's do this. Look at the engage. Look at the CC that JDG has on their team.
Yeah. I really do favor the FPX. JD Gaming do have a lot of map speed ups. They do have a lot of instant burst potential, but I do favor the FPX squad overall. Okay. I feel like they do have the scaling options in terms of the Kai'Sa and Lissandra. Once you get past the level 6 phase, it's actually a lot harder for the Syndra to really punish you. Sure. And Xin Zhao I would just consider be a stronger pick overall in the meta right now. I felt like JD Gaming took away the Gragas as a takeaway from Tien, who's only played Gragas so far.
Yeah, that's right. Can Tien play other junglers?
Yeah,
that was our question. We're about to get that answer. And you have to say that either way, we're going to see some explosive fights. We are going to see some action early, mid, and late. No matter how this game goes, unless it's an absolute blowout, Clement, we've got two teams who are going to be messy.
All of these teams are, all of these lanes, excuse me, are super interactive. I think that's the big point. There's no wet noodle lane, there's no farming lane happening anywhere on the map. It's a wide open map where the jungle can really leave a lot of impression. Every single lane could be ran as a kill lane right here, especially the bot side for LWX and Crisp. That's their bread and butter, so I really do expect to see a lot of early game ganks going down there.
With the priority of Xayah, that was the, Kai'Sa. They look nothing alike. That was the question on both of these AD carries. Of course, we still will be looking towards the bottom lane, but the Dumpling Brothers, it's Syndra, it's Aatrox, it's explosive everywhere. No wet noodle fights, Clement. I love that, because in this matchup, JDG and FPX, this could separate our 6th, 5th, maybe even 4th position, depending on the split. With an answer coming forward, it's JDG, it's FPX, and boy, have we been waiting for this one.
Waiting for the JD Gaming chance to come in. They've always been one of the loudest teams.
There he is.
What are they chanting EDG?
EDG. It's over.
Oh.
EDG. I'm going to make a brave call here. Clement, this is super early in the split. I know I just got here, and I do like my job and don't want to get fired, but JDG aren't going to Worlds this year. Oh, I know, we're not even in MSI.
I'm so happy that Frostcurrent isn't on the broadcast for that, because we would have a lot of discussions about that issue.
She would just yell at me, I'm sure.
Yep. He's probably tweeting already.
I know that's
gonna check that later.
That's put that on the back burner for a little bit. As you said earlier, it's Tien for the first time on something other than Gragas. And it's a blue start for the Jin Zhao. Excuse me, I'm still learning my Chinese. Fix me, Clement.
Zoom winning this trade quite hard.
Okay.
Already up a couple of HP. Did get the Deathbringer stance onto Gimgoon earlier as well.
Well, changes towards that bottom side though. Scuttle start straight towards the enemy's jungle, but Flawless. He's already cleared out his red. He went to Krugs. This is a Predator Gragas, and instead of going back up to the Raptors or looking for Scuttle, he's not going to find anything. Tian's mid, flash forward. FPX, the chaos continues. It ensues. Audacious charge. Tian with first blood.
A really unexpected gank, level 2 blue side gank coming in from Doinby and Tien. So, yeah, Gal just didn't expect that. You rarely see that type of a gank come down.
With Doinby, who just flashes immediately. Now that's what you want. Confidence in your mid laner, and who else are you going to get from but Doinby?
Yeah, I really feel like Yagao should have just held on to his summoners at that point. It was a done deal once the Dacian charge kind of got the slow down.
First blood over to Xin Zhao. Tian is now picking up Flawless's blue. He got double scuttle, is level 3. Flawless hasn't even been able to back to get his Predator boots.
I'm not sure he wants to walk in there.
Well, 1, 2, 3. Look at the hits coming out. It's so fast. It's disgusting. Flawless at half health. Tien now runs out of stacks, but Doinby's moving against Yagao. Orbs down with Scatter the Weak, and Tien is forced out of the jungle. No summoners burn here, but Flawless will have to back.
I love how aggressive Tien has been playing this early game right here. He's not letting you farm at all. Get back here.
This is going to be dangerous. Flawless smites. Smite back, flash away.
Get
slowed down. Flawless has body slammed to get out, but it was flash for flash and junglers, and Tien even got the Gromp.
Ooh, that's rough. That's rough. Already 2 camps stolen away. The blue buff and the Gromp going over to Tien at this point. And that's how you should play Xin Zhao. I really love this start from him. Just really creative blue. I believe they even faked the leash.
I think so.
Yeah.
That's going to be a triple buff for Tien. That's how insane Xin Zhao jungle is right now. With first blood, imagine going to, let's make this American, imagine going to Walmart.
Okay.
And you have 5 minutes where everything's free. All you have to do is run to the checkout and make sure you get to the cashier first.
That's basically what playing Xin Zhao is like.
That's exactly what it's like to play Xin Zhao.
There's nothing that can really beat you early on. I'm really surprised that he got a Xin in the last priority pick right here.
Yeah.
It goes so well with the early game plays. Doinby off to a good start as well. And this is going to bleed into a lot of these lanes. Like, if Flawless is kept down early, all the aggression is going to be coming from FPX, and it's going to be very hard for JD to start using their bot lane, which is supposed to be a push lane.
He is 20 CS behind in jungle at 5 minutes in the game. Now, granted, there's a couple of camps to catch up on, but actually, realistically, there's only Krugs. So Flawless has to make a gank work, because he's 2 levels behind now, hasn't caught up after these Krugs, leaves Krugs, heads towards the bottom side, and he's just trying to contest his scuttle.
Well, they are going to get help on this. It's a 3v1 situation.
He's sticking around, though. Lumao has to be here. Tien coming in for the steal.
Seriously?
No, that's a bug. Never mind. I was like, Tien, that's very ambitious.
I was like, wait a minute. That's probably a little bit too much right there. I was checking on the teleports from Doinby. It was off, so there was no help coming in from Tien. We were a little bit frightened there.
Well, Tien is going to make this one. This is no bug this time. Actually steals the majority of Little Raptors. Smite away. Tien gets another camp down.
Still maintaining to his 20 CS lead. Got 2 Raptors from that trade.
This is absolutely insane. In this matchup, this is the rookie jungler. By far.
And if you look at the lanes already, all FPX lanes are starting out winning it They have to keep tabs on Tien. If Tien isn't on the map, you have to assume that he's somewhere around. And you just can't play aggressive anymore.
And it's a 6-minute dragon because of it. Tien gets the aid of Doomby, who's already pushed out the wave. He's even found himself about 5 CS. He'll have Ocean Drake now, which Ocean early, double Ocean early, is filthy on a Lissandra lane.
Oh boy, I'm not sure what JD Gaming can do with this laning phase. It's almost as if they really can't change any of the situations anymore. It's really going to come down to Flawless to get some good ganks down, probably lane ganks, because this jungle is being lit up by Tien.
What lane can he gank at the moment? LWX seems to be the opening. It's pushed up against turrets, so very heavily speaking of those lane ganks. Stop the Kai'Sa before she gets ahead. Get Imp. One of those kills. BF turns into maybe an Essence Reaver or maybe a Storm Razors once again.
If you look at FPX's ward placements, if Flawless tries to go cross map, he will be spotted out. We already see the ward very deep into his Raptor camp. The same thing along his blue as well. So there's so many plays that FPX can do. I feel like they could try to abuse the blue handoff coming in from JD Gaming just 1 minute later. You know, or they could just, I don't know, keep on going on to Scuttle. There's a lot of things that Tien can basically do. He's running the map right now.
The Scuttle's not up and available, only the bottom side, but that'll respawn soon. Crisp can now roam because of the pressure on towards his bottom side and soon to be top side. Lil Mao has to respond here as well. And there is no way right now that you say anywhere in the river is safe for JDG. Even look at this deep vision from Crisp. He'll spot out Lil Mao making the rotation back. Lil Mao, he's going to walk through this brush and he's spotted out.
I really love what Lil Mao is doing here. He knows that the map might collapse if they don't establish a strong side at least. So he goes up with his jungler, at least gets vision on the Xin Zhao. Remember, if you have vision of Xin Zhao, you can trade aggressively in the other lanes. If you don't see him, you just can't trade. So that was a really clever move coming in from JD Gaming. Lil Mao keeping the map steady. Not enough to keep Tien away from stealing camps, but at least they have a side of the map that they can now make plays on.
Flawless went to the bottom side. He knew his blue was up and he intentionally gave this over. There's no way he can contest it. And in one way it's smart, but in the other way, more resources bleeding over the side of FPX. It's a 1k gold lead simply from First Blood and simply from these jungle invades, which cannot be stopped. Clement, it's growing more than 20. It's adding. And Tien goes back up to Krugs and continues farming.
But you see JD Gaming's bot lane. They've actually managed to stabilize from their early jungle pressure. They're drawing the map out where they can establish safe passage along the mid side of the lane. So I really love what Lil Mao did. All of this action started with Lil Mao getting his mobility boots, going to the top side, at least spotting out the jungler, and then having Flawless just say, hey, we're not going to contest this. We're going to set up a safe zone for our laners.
And they were able to do that by clearing out the vision and everyone moving up, like you just said. With Rift Scuttle picked up. What do we call it? Scuttle Crab, that's the one.
Yep.
Thank you, Clement.
Little Herald.
Little Herald. Son of Baron.
It does look like a crayfish. Crawfish is actually
crayfish. A crazy fish? What?
No, crawfish.
Okay, alright.
The little lobster. It's actually considered a delicacy in China. Yeah, brought over from Louisiana.
Just a side note, I've had some great food since I've been here.
I love Shanghai Bird's food.
Man, I've just been spoiled by food. Spoiled by League of Legends and food. In one of the most competitive LPL splits, I hope everyone else is eating as well as I am. You got good gameplay, good friends, and good tucker. Well, FPX, Tien, what else can he do but start up this Rift Herald? Doomby walks up. There's no real reason, really. If anyone contests this, Flawless is going to get hit hard by Gimgoon, who still has lane priority.
Level 7 versus level 7. This is an even smite fight.
Who gets it first? Ultimate use mid lane. Yagao actually gets engaged on. The knockup is almost predicted from Doomby. Can't get the kill. Top side of the map, Flawless drops as well. Rift Herald will go over. He's like, hang on, wait for the fight. Zoom drops on down. And Gimgoon, the helper top side, mid, helps get a solo.
And JD Gaming win on every single front. The bot side's able to roam. I'm not sure if that was a prediction or maybe Yagao just decided to flash in an unfortunate position, but at the very least, he definitely got the charm down, was able to finish off the kill, and they somehow win the solo versus Flawless as well and take the Herald.
And get turret plating.
That's 4 wins in a row.
That's 3k gold, Clement. Doomby onto Yagao. This is turning out magically for FPX. Turret plating still got 2 minutes 30 to go. And there's nothing left on the mid lane turret.
Want to see how this mid lane fight develops. Joinby goes in once again. The cleanse is available from Yagao. He doesn't use it just then. Uses it now. I want to see how Chris actually does find the play.
Ah, okay. Well, ultimate was used. That was unleashed power onto the support. But Crisp even survives at the end of that.
And I feel like Flawless just did not anticipate the amount of damage from Tien. Takes 1 rotation and dies to it.
You know he's a strong Zidzao. Like, you know this is happening. So, at the moment.
That's the stats for Rakan. 85.7% win rate. 10 wins out of 12 games.
That's insane. Are we going to add one to the mix? Well,
I think we are. I think there's a very good chance.
All right, it's still too early to tell. This time, I think it's a very different situation. But hold that thought, because FPX right back mid where they started. And Tian helps take down this turret. First turret blood. Again, not as much as it used to be, but still another K in the back pocket of FPX. Heightening that to 3,000 gold lead.
There's no winning lanes coming out from JD Gaming, and Gimgoon's going aggressive.
On death, but remember, World Ender popped down, so it's not going to be an explosion, but Gimgoon still with the Ghost in hand. The 1v1 continues on. Zoom knocks him up underneath turret. He has to flash. Brought back Gimgoon. Almost pays for his mistake.
Yeah, that was a Q3 away from a reverse kill happening in the top side, but Zoom deciding not to go back in.
As a flash forward, spinning around, Tian goes. Ignite drop down. Ocean is secured by JDG, and they do not die.
Small wins is all they're looking for JD Gaming right now. The laning phase, absolutely atrocious.
Small win, Clement. I think it's a bigger win with the way top lane's going. That Ocean Drake and double Ocean denied away from this lane winning FPX. Or a bigger win. Engage happens again down at the bottom side.
Coming.
Quickness has been used. Glacial Pass. Here comes the flash from Doomby. Lumao gets a 2-man knock-up, but the Boomerang Blade is just not big enough. Another kill to bite the dust. LWX gets his first.
And this is just snowballing from the mid lane plays that are happening so far. Doinby definitely has a target onto Yagao's back. He remembers being replaced by the younger player. He's going to make it pay. Make him pay.
He has so far. 1-0 and 2 on this Lysandra. Luden's Echo has been picked up. Response from Yagao is the exact same item, but a little bit later. You saw turret plating just drop there. It was as the top lane was getting pushed on down. Now, granted, there is a CS lead, but that's only in the top side of the map. Everywhere else, 20-20. Look at jungle, 30.
Oh, that is so rough to begin with. I wonder how much of this has to do with FPX's new coaching, Warhorse. Of course, the architect of Flash Wolves' early game leads. Flash Wolves for multiple seasons in international tournaments were actually going into these 50-minute game scenarios with the highest gold lead. And once again, we see another great plan being drawn out with Tien and Warhorse.
True.
Probably coaching from behind the scenes.
Now the impact that it's really applied to the FPX roster is very apparent. From week 1, we saw what FPX were capable of. Yeah, you heard it, Clement. Raz and I were super excited. Wanted to see more of this team. This is what's happened because of it, but Tian, with over-exhaustion coming through from the jungler, just maybe carrying so hard, the re-engage happens. Quickness has been used and is available. No, it's not. Never mind. Fear Beyond Death. Who even knows what I'm saying? Loom out. Knocked back in. That's 6 kills for FPX.
And 2 other members bite the dust for JD Gaming. A little bit of unfortunate catch right there. They didn't manage to get the knockback onto Tien. Weren't able to follow up with the kills, and Tien found enough time to get his Crescent Guard up. Saves himself and picks up other extra kills. It's a completely snowballed game. It's out of control for JD Gaming now.
Tien just walks over casually with the Blast Cone. Zoom not even going to take the 1v1 as an Aatrox. And of course he cannot. It's almost 2 items on Tien. Another turret's going to drop down. Tien's going to be here for the localized gold, because he's huge. and wants to get bigger. He's Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was already massive and wanted to get even bigger.
I'm really not sure about the blind pick Gragas. I feel like there was a lot of open and strong picks in that position. The Rakan was still up. That was something I was looking for. Rakan Zaya, they could have taken that in the blue side first draft. Instead, they blind picked the Gragas. It was considered a flex for Zoom, but I don't think the meta really allows for it. So I'm just not sure why the draft ended up the way it did for JD Gaming. I felt like there were still a lot of strong picks on the table that they just didn't go for.
Middle tier teams that are drafting inconspicuously, I'd say.
And Gragas is one of those picks that I feel like you can counter pick, but not really blind. Can they actually get Gimgoon here, though?
They've been trying for a dive for a while. Gimgoon didn't see that, but we did. Liu Bao is like, nope, not taking that one. Probably saw Tian coming in from the wing.
Yep. Gragas has bad matchups against things like Sejuani. We did see the ban even come out just to prevent it. And also, you probably only run him into Lee Sin, and that's it. I don't really see why the priority is so high on Gragas earlier on. I don't think any other team, rather than Tin himself, actually prioritizes Gragas.
Yeah, well, Gragas has been flexed very recently towards a support position, more often than not. So, there was the ability to confuse the drafting phase, or at least turn FPX in their seats. Didn't feel like that was the case, and again, for the coaching staff, talk a lot about Warhorse, and already his impact is apparent. There's a 6k gold lead in this game, and the early game has skyrocketed out of control. No kills yet, no turret so far. Pretty much a flawless game apart from that turret by FPX, ironically.
Question really is, how do JD Gaming actually get back from this scenario? None of the lanes are winning. They do have some catch potential. I think the only good thing about Gragas is you always have that playmaking potential to get yourself back. That's what RNG has been relying on.
Speaking of a catch, it's Zoom again. Tian underneath the turret doesn't really care at this point. Unleash power onto Doomby. It's a 1v2. Make that Liu Mao just bops him back. Thank you very much. 500 kill core. That's not bad.
Yeah, but still a trade win for FPX coming in. The Infernal Drake plus the tower trade, I would say it's much more favorable for FPX. They do have the scaling coming in with Kai'Sa as well. Yeah. So I think they're going to be happy with that.
Surely you would be, even at this point, with Imp getting this turret and the localized gold to add on top of that. It will go back, get a rapid fire cannon, as most Civers do at this point, but you're still not LWX. Picks up the second item. Actually, you can't even get a rapid fire cannon. I'd sell the Doran's. How much is the difference? That's the real question. Surely the Doran's blade would cover it, unless you're on like 30 gold.
Doesn't want to give up.
600 for
He needs that efficiency. He thinks he's just going to be wave clearing for the next couple of minutes anyway.
Colonel, that's rough. But fair. JDG, their one achievement this game has been the Ocean Drake. And let's add that other one in. Finally a pick off onto the mid laner of FPX. Doomby getting caught out means that Yagao has a small opening. Morellonomicon's going to be his second item, and that's moments away from getting picked up. The pick potential still there for JDG. That's never going to change. Only the gold discrepancy will continue. See when the play comes through. For JDG, they need to make one soon. You have a Kai'Sa on the other team. Something's got to give.
JD Gaming looking to defend their own blue buff. The Infernal Drake is coming up next, but I really don't see how they're going to do against it. I just feel like JD Gaming, for me, the biggest problem for Yagao later in the split was his champion pool. He did have to ban away both Aurelia and LeBlanc, so he wasn't really matching up with the meta very well. Played the Vladimir during the regional qualifiers against Scout to little avail. And for this split, when he doesn't have the Galio, it seems to be the Syndra, and those champions I don't think are going to cut it for him in this matchup.
And when you're going up against Doomby, who has the biggest champion pool out of any mid laner, well, not the case. Maybe not. Hang on. Pause that. On the hunt. Two-man knock up. Pick potential was always going to be there, but Tian just ults immediately into the quickness. Knock up again. LWX ults in from the side. Doomby comes in like a salami sandwich, and FPX get their opening pick. Zoom watching in from the sides, and now it's off to Baron.
I love what Zoom just did there. He said, nope, I'm not going in there. Go straight to the Raptors, and, you know, just hightails it away from the team fight situation. It was a good catch coming out from Liu Mao, but with all the flashes up on FPX, they're able to dodge out quite easily on that fight.
Tian just does not die in the Baron case with no ultimate down. Does that continue on over the wall? Doomby stops it again. Tonight is the Baron. Doomby's in once more. Unleashed power takes him down, but gets the team. Everyone else. Imp and Zoom run for the hills. FPX, they lose one, they get more picks, and they get the Baron to go on top.
And that kill was personal. Did you see Doimby right there? There was no need to flash in right there, but he wanted to style on Yagao. He flashes over the scatter of the weak, and then makes sure that Yagao dies. Even if he has to trade his life for it. He says, you're going down with me.
Part of the chaos Doomby adds. FPX were always known as this chaotic team-fighting team. Doomby joins the roster.
Oh, logically, that was not a good trade for Doimby, but emotionally, huge win, huge win. Let's see how it starts right here. I like the decision, but Flawless doesn't actually, his ultimate, I don't think got anyone caught into a bad position, and then Crisp walks in, gets a 3-man taunt. Zoom is like, nope, I'm not going in on that fight, and FPX can clean up from there.
Although at the end, and what we didn't see was Doomby flash in emotionally. What it was, Clement, is heightening their style. Now, granted, with other LPL mid laners, they'll change the style of their team.
Yes.
A lot of other players will do that. Doomby just adds himself into the mix. He just adds to that play style, and right now for FPX, it's working well. Tian showcases on another jungler that isn't Gragas, and looks great. This early game has turned into a mid game with gargantuan proportions of damage from FPX.
This is the best game that Tian has played in this split so far. Previously, he was, yeah, for FPX, like previously he actually had a negative gold lead past the 15-minute mark, was soloed out quite frequently. Not this time.
Gimgu goes to half health, even then willing to take the fight underneath turret. Still tanking it, actually, until everyone else comes in. FPX with the Baron buff, this turret should be theirs, but can't get the Demolish proc from Doomby. Tag down is flawless. Don't do it, LWX. Kaiser Syndrome. Doesn't really have the same catch to it, does it?
Definitely not, but it's going to happen someday. Like, LWX is going to clean up the game, and it's either going to be him blowing up or at least a triple kill. That's the fun of watching LWX. Someone's going to blow up, and it's always going to be game-changing.
We watched, or we looked at the stats earlier. Imp versus LWX, and Imp did not have many kills. Imp is 0-0-0 in this game.
Hey, at least he didn't die.
He has an 11. He has an 11.0 KDA, Clement, and he's got to preserve that nature.
Does that mean Imp wins out?
That means Imp still has the better KDA. I mean, unless LWX gets a pentakill.
Small victory for JD Gaming, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, you probably want the game, but that's getting harder and harder. Double Infernal. It's going to be a triple Infernal. And FPX launches us into this series full throttle in Jingdong's home arena.
Yeah, and if you think about how this game went, how many early platings did FPX take up? They got the entire mid lane. They probably had 2 stacks or 1 stack on the bot lane as well. You have to remember that gold is no longer considered temporary gold lead. You can't get that gold back past the 14-minute mark anymore. So if you have a solid early to mid-game lead, you can continue to step on that lead. And even if JD Gaming win it back, a lot of times they're not going to be able to close the gap like they would be able to in Season 8 or Season 7.
Well, there's no turret plating for JDG to take because by that time they're already responding to FPX. They had to make the plays rather than solidify these laning phases. And this is the response left in again. Zoom might just have to ult here. World Ender probably going to die. And Zoom ultimate down now, but 2 items. The Aatrox once he backs can still be a force to be reckoned with.
Teleport Ori up for Doimby. This is going to be a straight push for them. There's no front line from JD Gaming anymore.
They're fighting for vision control around this blue side jungle. Baron's coming up again in 2 minutes, so vision, you can see how crucial it is for JDG. This next Baron will solidify the game even further. At least the base isn't broken down, but how long before we say it is?
This is just a wait for IE on the Sivir type of game style for JD Gaming. They don't really have a win condition going outside of their own base. I think they're going to have to give it up. I hate to say it, but I don't even think they really contest. They just try to catch the waves at this point.
Well, 1 minute 30 to find out anyway, Clement, so fingers crossed something good could come from JDG because this matchup was hyped up in the bottom side. And we've seen nothing of the bottom side. We hyped up how each and every lane was going to be volatile. But for JDG, that never came true. It's only Yagao with a couple of response kills, but that's by the mid-game. Nothing cuts it here for JDG. for Doomby. He's the only one without a bounty, if
Yep.
you don't count in Crisp. And that's because he's been going in, so even the mid lane's not the focus anymore.
0-6, 3K start from FPX before the 20-minute mark. Actually, before the 13-minute mark. So,
For the 5-minute mark, it was a couple of kills anyway.
yep. It's about as good as you can expect.
Doomby again! Remember, he has ultimate, cast it on himself. Flawless is already dead. Crisp and LWX in a choke doesn't work out because Zoom here has ultimate. He picks up his first kill of the game, a 1-for-1 trade.
And
Okay.
that was the potential turnaround coming in from JD Gaming, but, you know, it could have gone a lot better, I have to say. Like, Lissandra was stepping on a ward that was not full cleared from FPX's side. A bit of a mistake in terms of the clear pattern right there. LWX and Crisp all go in at the same time. I felt like there was a chance right there for JD Gaming to clean the fight up. But unfortunately for them, I think the crowd control from Crisp really stopping all the damage from going down on that one.
And there was no goal to be taken over either. Doomby did not have a bounty. And nor will he probably for the rest of the game at this rate, unless something drastic happens. But second Baron, probably going to be FPX's. JDG are coming up, but will they get here in time?
I feel like this is a dicey situation for FPX. The last engage was not really what they wanted to see.
Zoom does not have World Ender. Flash in from Chris. Baron secured. Stun up with Scatter the Weak. JDG on multiple fronts, but Doomby's back in again. Here comes Fear Beyond Death. It's under one, but it's enough. FPX cleaning up the fray. Zoom on the back end, trying to get Gimgoon off of his jungler, but Flawless survives. It's okay. Doomby is just doing it again. Chris onto the support. And the cow goes, move over. It's FPX's time to shine.
And there's only 3 members left to defend the base coming in from FPX. It was a good catch coming out from JD Gaming. They almost found a chance into the Baron pit, but Tien secures the Baron, and I think he's going to secure the game.
Xin Zhao, last pick, has done everything for FPX, even the Lissandra Doomby. You don't know when he's going to go in. World Ender from Zoom, the last stand. He flashes forward. Going to bring them in with the Infernal Chain. But you brought Tian in. He's just going to keep killing you. The last hit from LWX. Flawless drops again.
It's only a 3-man left. Numo is coming out. I don't think FPX are going to push this the full way. They're very, very low at this point.
Baron minions will help secure at least one turret. So for JDG, they survive to die another day. But 13k gold lead. An Infernal coming up in 20 seconds.
That was a hero play coming out from Zoom just to stop the game from ending there. Goes in 1v4. Doomby might be caught out.
He's caught out once again. His 4th death of the game. Zoom say no worries. Tien doesn't have his ulti available. Knocked up by Zoom. JDG can turn this. Crisp slows down the Aatrox. In comes Gimgoon. But Infernal now up for contention.
And this is of a 5v4 for JD Gaming. They should be able to lock this down. FPX, they have a lot of macro plays. They do have a pushing mid lane as well, but I think they're going to try and deny and just end the game here.
They need to stop this Halo Blade Xin Zhao, but it's just been given over. JDG triple Infernal. What is happening, Luobao? Left by himself. Fear Beyond Death. Flash by Gimgoon, but Scatter the Weak doesn't do enough. It's the mid lane knocked up again. JDG just have to sit by and watch as Yagao drops Gimgoon into the fray. Tien here as well. Void Seeker lands a second time, but look at the AP damage. FPX, they're not giving this fight up. Again, the ultimate comes in. LWX needs one more hit. Ignite from Crisp. Messy fights, but again, the chaos works.
The chaotic team of FPX, they managed to chase everything down, but what was Numo doing? That was a bizarre type of play, and it also feared his own mid laner with his own body.
He just wanted the game to end. FPX have been walking over JDG for a while in this game, 30 minutes to be precise, and with their last stand, they show that FPX, the chaos, they thrive in it.
And FPX, just this team has so much growth in them from previous splits. They were called the chaotic team, but I feel like this game, they had everything under control. From minute 0, from the leash they faked in the early game, and the level 2 blue gank coming in from Xin Zhao, a very, very rare occurrence in Jungle Path. They just completely dominated JD Gaming.
Do you remember talking about Tien? Have we ever talked about Tien in this team? No.
No.
It's Doomby, it's LWX, and Crisp. Who was Tien? Well, he's a jungler to start off, but now you should all know his name.
I guess that proves a lot of doubts. Is Tien a Gragas one trick? The answer is definitely no. I don't think taking away Gragas from him is actually a good early game strategy. This is probably the cleanest game that we've ever seen from FPX.
Yeah, we've seen a clean game from, tick it off, Clement, from Vici and from FPX to start the split off. So I don't know how this happened, but it definitely did happen. And on the side note as well, just coming back to TN, with junglers, with the newer junglers, there is the ability to fall off with your lead, to make a mistake, to ruin your early snowballing. This did not happen with TN.
Oh, that's really surprising. This guy was used to play on Suning Gaming with Knight, was later replaced by Hacker on the roster pretty much, and kind of drifted around for a while, but finally have a great debut with FPX right here. Now, I have to say, it feels like FPX might be inching into the 6th place, while JD Gaming might be looking at 7 and 8.
You said FPX were going to sit towards 8th. It was a contest between V5. JDG were definitely the favorites coming in. You look at the experience of the Dumpling brothers, and like Zoom and Yagao almost non-existent in that game until Zoom had a couple of good plays, but by then it was the 30-minute mark and the game's over.
The jungler position was just, there's too much of a difference right there, and I do expect them to at least try Levi out a little bit. He did lose the first game, but Yagao publicly defended him. He said that there was just a communication issue. He didn't know the Mandarin as well as he could have, so I do expect some changes in that front.
Or maybe if they bring Levi into game 2, that's going to be the real question if it changes things up. Imp, I want to see his KDA by the end of that as well, Clement. But we are going to take a short break. When we return, game 2 of JDG and FPX.